Good morning, my dear students. I welcome you all to our next recorded online class, Chapter 8, Winds, Storms and Cyclones. Past two classes, we have learned what is meant by breeze, what is meant by wind, and the role played by the atmospheric pressure in various different aspects. That is atmospheric pressure, which is involved in formation of wind, and we had a small idea that is even storm and cyclone are also due to atmospheric pressure. We also learned certain characteristics of this wind, that is warm. When the air becomes warm, it becomes lighter. Second, when the warm air is lighter, automatically it moves up, and thereby due to this pressure gradient, air comes into that particular site, so which you call it as wind. If it is a cool air, it is known as breeze. If it is a normal air with a normal speed, it is known as wind, and if it is with a force, it is known as storm. And if it is in the form of a twist, it is known as cyclone. So a small idea has been given in the past two classes, and in today's class we are going to enter into a storm. We are going to learn what is meant by storm, what are the harmful effects of storm, what are the characteristics of storm, and we are going to learn certain precautions measures that has to be followed during a storm or a cyclone. But I don't know how far the time is going to cooperate with us. So I will try to finish as much as possible. If not, I will finish the lesson by the next class. Okay, so let us go into the lesson. Our next topic is thunderstorms and cyclones. First let us discuss what is meant by thunderstorm, then we will go to cyclones. It's in the word. A storm is none other than a strong wind. Okay, breeze, wind, strong wind. Okay, so when there is a thunder, lightning, rain along with a storm, along with the strong winds, that is actually known as thunderstorm. Very simple. Okay, so again I repeat, in thunderstorm you have lightning, rain along with the thunder. Okay, lightning means the flash that comes from the sky. We shall learn what is and how is lightning formed. Similarly, the thunder is none other than the sound that is produced. So lightning is produced due to certain reasons, and thunder is produced by certain reasons. So along with this lightning and thunder, if there is a rain and the strong winds, that is actually known as thunderstorm. Thunderstorms are more prevalent or frequent in hot, humid and tropical areas. Apart from other areas, tropical areas, that is the areas nearer to the equator. the areas above and below the equator, that is north and south side of the equator or nearer to the equator, is actually known as tropical areas, where you come across hot and humid, that is you come across a more temperature, more hotness. Yesterday we saw that, in the last class we saw this hotness is found more in the equator, okay, because the equatorial region is nearer to the sun compared to the polar regions. So tropical regions, that is nearer to the equator, which comprise of hot as well as humid, that is humid because of the water vapors, because of the moisture, that is known as humid. In other terms, it is also known as humidity. Okay, when you measure this humidity, it is known as relative humidity, shortly known as RH. Okay, so that condition is necessary, that is hot, humid, and which takes place in the tropical areas where you come across thunderstorm. Thunderstorm can also be defined as a violent, short-lived weather disturbance that is almost and always associated with lightning, thunder, dense clouds, heavy rain or hail or strong gusty winds. Okay, so this is how we can define this thunderstorm, that is a violent, short-lived weather disturbance. So by this time you know what is meant by weather. So weather means it is for a short duration. So thunderstorm is also a short is also for a short duration. So that's why it is defined as a violent, short-lived weather disturbance, which is almost associated with these following factors. Okay, so thunderstorm is associated with lightning, heavy rain or hail. I hope you know what is meant by hail, hailstones. Okay, so in Tamil it is known as Alangatti Mali. Okay, so snow in the form of balls will be falling. That is actually known as hail. Okay, so lightning, thunder, dense clouds. So you have more amount of clouds, and because of that, more or heavy rain or heavy hail. Okay, and also with the strong gusty winds. Gust means short or quick. So very fastly the wind moves. Okay, and it will be for a short duration, and that is actually known as thunderstorm, or in other words I could say these are the reasons for the formation of thunderstorm. Okay, so almost what I said before. So one of the things that I have added some few extra points. Okay, like gusty winds, heavy hail, strong dense clouds, etc. So what I said before, this is something which gives a proper definition of thunderstorm. Okay, so now let us see how the various factors are found. Okay, so that is one. First of all, let us start with the tropical areas. So what will be there in tropical areas? You come across a hot climate, and because of the hot climate, two things takes place. One, the water that is on the surface, it may be in the land or in sea or ocean or river or pond, etc. These are all known as surface waters. The surface water, due to high temperature, they start to evaporate. This is one factor. Okay, so when they evaporate at one particular height, at one particular altitude, it starts to form clouds. Okay, water, they start to form clouds. So this is one factor, that is due to high temperature, evaporation of the water takes place, and that evaporated water or water vapor or steam, whatever it is called as, they form clouds. Second thing is that due to this, apart from evaporation, the air also starts to become warm, and they also, since warm air is lighter, it starts to move up, forming a pressure gradient, and because of this pressure gradient, wind starts to move inside. The wind away from the surface, away from this site or away from this particular site, will start to move inside. Okay, warm air rises and cold air starts to move as fast as it could. Okay, it depends on how faster the warm air goes up, the cold air starts to come inside. So this is the second factor. Okay, one, evaporation, and because of evaporation, formation of dense clouds. Okay, so just to compare with what I said in the definition. So this is how dense clouds are formed. And second one is strong winds are formed due to the atmosphere becoming warm. Okay. Then third is, now let us see about how lightning and thunder are formed. Lightning. So when there is formation of clouds, so actually water vapor, it forms clouds. Okay. So along with the water vapor, you also come across enormous amount of dust in the atmosphere. These dust particles, they contain charges, positive and negative charges, because they are all chemicals. Okay. Chemicals, we call them as ions if they have charge, ION. Okay. Ion, that is different from ions. Okay. The metal iron, ferrous. Okay. So that is different from IONS, that is ions, that is charged particles are known as ions. This you learn maybe in next year. Cations and anions, that is positive charges and negative charges. Okay. So the dust particles containing the ions, they also, along with the water vapor, they form clouds, and that is the reason for the charge in the clouds. So what I am trying to say is that dust particles will be found in the clouds, and because of the dust particles, because of the charged dust particles, the whole cloud will be charged. And when two clouds with the opposite charges, one positive and the other cloud with the negative charges, that is actually not the cloud, the dust particles that are containing the charges, when they collide with each other, when they touch each other, that results in the formation of a spark, and that spark is actually known as lightning. So this you might have seen in some movies or some in videos, positive wire and a negative wire. When you scratch this positive and negative wire, you come across spark. Even you might have seen this in person. Okay, maybe in a mechanic shop or in a welding shop, where they try to scratch or try to collide this positive and negative wires. Okay, so but you don't try this at home, or maybe you can use some electricians who come to your house to understand this concept. So when a positive and negative charges collide, which results in the formation of a spark. Like that, in clouds, the positive clouds collides with the negative clouds. I mean, the dust particles in the positive clouds collides with the dust particles with the negative clouds, and that results in the formation of a spark called as lightning. During lightning, excess amount of heat and light is released. Okay, enormous amount of heat and light is released, and light, and that light is actually known as lightning. And this heat, it results in the sudden warming up of air. So air slowly warming up. Now air suddenly warms up, and because of that sound is produced, and that sound is actually known as thunder. Okay, and this is the reason why lightning is followed by thunder. That is, first lightning takes place, then only thunder takes place. All takes place in a few milliseconds or microseconds. Okay, so this lightning, I hope now you understand what is lightning and how lightning is formed. You come across heat and light are produced in a lightning. That particular heat in that particular area above the sky near the clouds, that heat results in the warming up of that particular area. The air is warmed. I mean, it becomes hotter, but it happens very fast. And because of the sudden warming up of air, the air start to expand fastly, and that results in the formation of a sound, and that is known as thunder. Okay, so this is how thunder is formed. And actually lightning is formed immediately, thunder is formed. But actually when you listen to that, you will first receive lightning. After maybe 1 second or 2 seconds, you receive the thunder. The reason is light travels faster than sound. So this concept you should be knowing now. At least now you know, even though we come across lightning followed by thunder, formation of lightning followed by thunder, but still it takes more time to hear the thunder. Okay, and the reason is lightning travels light travels as much fast compared to a sound. So lightning is a light. Okay, thunder is a sound. So that's why it takes just a millisecond or microsecond, sometimes seconds, to hear the thunder. Next, precautions to be followed during a thunderstorm. Okay, so in your book they have given in their own order. I just want to go in my way, okay, in my order, such that it will be easy for you to understand, easy to memorize, and easy to recall during your exam or whenever when you are in that particular situation. Okay, right. First of all, you should shelter inside a building. The first option I would say is you can shelter inside a building. That will be the safest place. If you don't have building at that situation, you can, second option, you go for a vehicle, car or a bus or any kind of vehicle. Okay, you can shelter inside a building or inside a car. But see to that you don't stay near a window. If you stay near a window, the lightning may get inside through that window. So stay away from the window, either building or vehicle. Then third, you are not supposed to shelter under a tree at all. But no other go. If you don't have a building or if you don't have a vehicle, if you are inside in a forest, the third option is you have to stay only under a tree, but under a small tree, not a large tree. Okay, don't go for a large tree, because the objects that are taller in a particular area will receive the lightning, okay, compared to the objects that are smaller. Okay, so if at all, if you are supposed to shelter under a tree, which is the third option, because you don't have a building, if you don't have a vehicle, then the third option is a tree. Then you can shelter under a small tree and never under a large tree. Actually, you are not supposed to shelter under a tree. If no other go, you can shelter under a small tree. So this is the third option. Then four, if it is a flat ground, okay, flat in the sense there are no plants at all, in that case you are not supposed to lie down. Okay, you are also not supposed to stand, okay, or sit, and you are also not supposed to lie down on the ground, because if there are no other plants there, the lightning, you will be the tallest in that area and you may receive the lightning. So it is better to run for a shelter there. Okay, then fifth one is you are not supposed to shelter inside open garage, that is large garages with a large opening. Okay, so garages or a shed, whatever it is called as. So that too, the garage or shed should not be made of a metal, because metals easily receive the lightning. And why I am saying you are not supposed to stay inside a garage or shed, because usually these garages or shed, maybe car shed or car garage, okay, or garage to store certain materials, so they have a wide opening, a wide door with a wide opening. So in that case, it makes easy for the lightning to come inside. The opening will allow the lightning to come inside. So that's why you are not supposed to shelter inside a garage or shed. And finally, if you are using an umbrella, since there is rain, you may be using an umbrella. See to that the umbrella should not have a metal end like this. So because these kind of metal ends receive the lightning faster. So if you are running with an umbrella, what happens? The lightning will be received and that lightning will be passed on to you. I hope the effect of lightning, it burns a tree. It can burn a tree. Okay, so it can burst the tree into pieces. Imagine what happens if the lightning falls on us. So we'll burn into ashes or burst into pieces. So that's why be aware of this thunderstorm, be aware of this lightning. Okay. Formation of cyclone. So when in tropical areas, due to the high temperature from the sun, due to high temperature of the sun, the water bodies on the earth start to evaporate. Water becomes water vapor and they start to move up towards the sky. At a particular altitude, they form clouds. So this is the first step. Okay, so this is a natural process taking place in a water cycle. Okay, so when these clouds condense, so at that particular altitude the temperature may be low, and because of that the clouds may start to condense to form rain. So condense means cool. Okay, so water vapor, when it cools it becomes water. This you might have learned in lower classes. So like that here, the clouds, which are the gaseous form of water, they condense to form water droplets, which we call it as rain. Whenever and wherever you come across evaporation of any liquid, it need not to be water. If a liquid evaporates, where and there you come across a kind of chillness prevailing there. So when the water evaporates from the surface, the atmosphere there will be chill. Similarly, when the clouds condense to form rain, a kind of heat is released. So condensation of clouds into water is the reverse process of evaporation. Okay, so here a heat is released, and that heat warms the atmosphere in that particular area. And due to the atmosphere getting warmer, that is, the air or the gas in that particular site gets warm, which means it becomes lighter, and the light air or the warm air starts to move upwards again. And due to this, the air surrounding that particular site, which is comparatively colder, will start to move inside this particular site to maintain the pressure, that is the atmospheric pressure. So again I repeat, the heat that is released from the cloud, it warms the atmosphere, that is the air in the atmosphere, or the gas that is found in the atmosphere. So warm air loses its density, so it becomes lighter and starts to move upwards. When the warm air moves upwards, a vacuum or a cavity is created. So you come across a pressure difference or a pressure gradient, I mean the particular site compared to the surrounding. So to maintain the pressure gradient or to maintain the pressure difference, the cold air surrounding this particular site starts to move inside. So you can find in this picture the cold air from the surrounding. I mean, I've drawn on the left and the right hand side. This cold air starts to move inside, and the cold air keep on getting inside. Okay, so this, if it is in a fast manner, it is none other than a storm. This process takes place continuously in a cyclic manner. That is, one, water gets heat up and evaporates to form clouds. The clouds at a particular altitude, they condense to form a rain, and the heat that is produced during this condensation process, they warm the atmosphere, and that warmness results in the movement of warm air moving upwards and cold air from the surrounding getting into the particular surface. And if this continuously take place, that results in the formation of cyclone, where the air, the cold air which is from the surrounding, it doesn't move inside straight, but it moves in the form of a cycle, and that cyclic movement results with a strong wind, heavy rain, etc. That results in the formation of a cyclone. I hope you understand. The next is structure or characteristics of a cyclone. So I have drawn a small picture of a cyclone. So this is just a rough idea of a cyclone. So at the center, okay, the center of a cyclone is a calm area where there is no disturbance, and this is actually known as eye of the cyclone. Okay, the center region of a cyclone is known as eye of the cyclone, which is actually a calm area. The diameter of the eye would be approximately 10 to 30 kilometers. Okay, so even though I have drawn in a small paper, actually the diameter of the eye itself will be 10 to 30 kilometers. Okay, so this region, this eye region, which is at the center of the cyclone, this is a region of light winds and no clouds, which means there is no rain at the center and you have light winds. So only in the surrounding of the cyclone you will have strong winds with a heavy rain. Okay, so the surrounding region where you come across high speed winds and thick clouds with a heavy rain. So in the surrounding, leave out this I which is at the center. If you look into the surrounding where there will be strong winds with this high speed and also thick clouds that results in heavy rain. Okay, the speed of the wind varies. For a large cyclone, for a bigger cyclone, it would be almost 150 to 250 kilometer speed. Okay, so I say in a proper way, it would be 150 to 250 kilometer per hour. That will be the speed of the wind in the large cyclone. Okay, then the size of a cloud region is about 150 kilometers. Okay, so this cloud region will be approximately 150 kilometer, and the wind speed gradually decreases when you move away from this cyclone. Okay, so when you move away from this region, slowly there will be low clouds, less rain, and also the speed of the wind will be less. And finally, let me tell some more factors, that is the reasons for cyclone. So there are various factors that results in the formation of a cyclone, as we discussed in the formation of cyclone before. Just now we learned. Okay, so which includes wind speed, temperature, humidity, and wind direction. So all these are the factors that results in the formation of a cyclone. Okay, the speed of the wind is actually known as wind speed, which is important. Then temperature, it plays a major role in the cyclone, formation of cyclone. Humidity, that is the moisture that is found in the atmosphere. And finally, wind direction, because the cyclone will not stay in a place, it starts to move. So these are the factors that are important when you learn about cyclone. Okay, and finally, one last word I just want to say. With that, let me finish today's session. The word cyclone is derived from the Greek word cyclos, which means coil of a snake. So since the cyclone looks like a snake, it is known as cyclos, meaning coils of a snake. Okay, right. Today's assignment is, I'm just going to display certain question answers from your book, so you can write that in your notebook. If those answers are found in your notes which was sent before, I hope you have printed the notes that was sent in the form of PDF to your WhatsApp group. So if you have that, you can also follow that notes. Okay, if not, you just copy down from the screen that is displayed. Okay, so all the best. Do the online test perfectly. God bless you. Thank you.